the tense points is the idea of an Iranian regime change coming as a result of all of this. Trump yet again floated that possibility on social media. He wrote, quote, "If the current regime is unable to make Iran great again, why wouldn't there be regime change?" But that is not the message that we heard from the administration this weekend.
Our view has been very clear that we don't want a regime change.
This mission was not and has not been about regime change.
This wasn't a regime change move.
And Trump's post contradicts what he himself said just last month while he was in Saudi Arabia.
This great transformation has not come from Western interventionalists or flying people in beautiful planes giving you lectures on how to live and how to govern your own affairs. The so-called nation builders wrecked far more nations than they built, and the interventionists were intervening in complex societies that they did not even understand themselves.
That was a welcome message, Pete, when he delivered it in the Middle East, when he gave that speech. And it was unusual because he was critiquing really his own party. I mean, if you go back to these conflicts, Afghanistan in 2001, that intervention, that regime change ended up with the Taliban back in power. Iraq, 2003, that regime change ended up with ISIS in power. Libya, 2011, now a failed state. So there's not really a good history of regime change, but I can't really tell where Trump actually is on this question because he's all over the place.
Well, I disagree that he's advocating that the United States orchestrates regime change. So he is not contradicting anyone in the administration, and he's not contradicting himself. Instead, he's signaling to the Iranian people that their window of opportunity to do it themselves is open. Just like our window of opportunity to eliminate their nuclear sites opened and we acted, the opportunity is now here. You look at the actions of the Iranian leadership, they already have their head on a swivel. They're worried that this could happen. The supreme leader is hiding somewhere in a bunker, just like Saddam Hussein cowardly was in a spider hole for 235 days. He is worried about what will happen in his own country. So today's attack, the missiles that they launched today, this symbolic, telegraphed, ineffective, intentionally ineffective campaign of sending missiles was all propaganda for a domestic audience to say, we attacked Great Satan, we took the fight to them, knowing full well that absolutely nothing was going to happen.
But Abby's right. We have such a mixed history with regime change and getting involved in these conflicts. And I think the American people voted for their president to care about them and to focus on them, which is why you're seeing so much division. Now, there are hawks in both parties, Democrats and Republicans, who are saying, now's the time, change Iran, change it forever. The question is what comes next, and I don't think we know that answer.
Well, a minute ago, you were upset that this bomb dropping didn't free the women of Iran. I'm just trying to figure out where
you're popping champagne. Oh, Trump, I'm taking my victory lap over here, and I think it's a little premature. That's all I'm saying.
Victory lap for American
Which
leadership.
of us is popping champagne? Listen, I mean, the reality is this was a targeted strike designed to do one thing and one thing only. Stop these butchers from having a nuclear weapon, period. There's no regime change.
That's what
there's
they
no,
say
There's
today.
no what comes next.
But
what
Trump
comes
has
next
confused
is up
it.
to the people of Iran. And what comes next is whether Iran and Israel abide by the terms of a ceasefire and have a negotiated peace. I hope that they all can get to the table and do it. But it's the Middle East, and it's difficult.
And I
but
don't
Scott,
think
the problem is, though, I think you'd agree with this now, that when you attack a nation like Iran, the quickest lesson one learns is to make sure you now have a nuclear weapon so you're never attacked again. That's the only reason why Israel got its weapon in 1966. That's why North Korea got its weapon. That's why France got its weapon. That's why the United States and Russia got their weapon. And for those of us to go all the way back to the United States to kill 250 million people in 2 days in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, that's not a high moral moment for the American.
So Jamil, what do you make of that? I mean, he's
Does
saying
that make sense,
that by attacking Iran, you could push them even further into a decision to actually have a weapon.
Look, I don't disagree that one lesson that a lot of countries that threshold nuclear states are going to take away is don't remain a threshold state. If you were on the path to get a nuclear weapon, go get one. North Korea did that. They established themselves. It's hard for anybody to attack them. That being said, what this also says is if you're going to try to be a threshold nuclear state, you better watch out because you'll get whacked. Don't even try. Don't go down this road. So I would rather take that lesson. It is true that it is going to make some nations more likely when they get close to jump straight to it. But that is not the right answer. And this whole thing, by the way, the DNI has said for now the better part of a decade and a half about the leadership decision-making in Iran, it is completely ridiculous that you would allow a country to get to a valid weapons design, enough enriched uranium to create a nuclear device and a ballistic missile delivery capability, and then say, well, we're not going to do anything about it because their leadership hasn't decided to go. Because when they're at that point, when they make the decision, it's a day, it's a week, it's a month. There is not enough time to strike. You can't wait for the decision.
Too late.
It's too late.
Saudi Arabia, Turkey, America's going to go into the whacking business to make sure no nation has the capacity to have a nuclear weapon. How much whacking can we do? How much whacking can we do?
It's in our interest.
At least those nations that say they want to destroy
whack ourselves away.
That have supported terrorism for 4 decades, killed thousands of Americans in Iraq and Afghanistan.
I would never defend the Iranian regime. I'm not defending them, not at all. I'm talking about being morally consistent.
This is why people like Marjorie Taylor Greene are still,
yes,
as we sit here, in the MAGA camp, but saying what Dr. West is saying, where does this end? You said that you weren't going to go into any wars, and now here we are.
Yeah, but
right.
I mean,
We're not at war. It's a targeted strike.
Trump says it was a...
But Marjorie Taylor Greene is
Democrats
right.
are saying it's
And
a war.
meanwhile, like we're cutting food stamps, we're cutting our social safety net here, and we are spending money on this attack. So the question is, was it necessary, and is it in the Americans' interest? Now, do I, as a woman, want women of Iran to be free? 100%. Do I think that they're getting Trump's Truth Social post tonight, and that's going to motivate them to rise up? I'm not so sure it works like that, but I want a free Iran. I also want our social safety net and our kids taken care of. And I think it's right for Marjorie Taylor Greene to ask that question.
You know, this idea that Marjorie Taylor Greene is right, I think is totally bunk. Marjorie Taylor Greene is just wrong.
She's
the
crazy.
reality is that other nations of the world understand one thing. They understand power. Pete is exactly right. America demonstrated power. It demonstrated we're not going to take it. Marjorie Taylor Greene, frankly, is afraid of American power, and that's why she and Tom Massey are just wrong. They're not real Republicans. They want to talk about fake Republicans. They're the fake Republicans. Republicans have always been about American national security and using American power to create deterrence to the world. That's what Reagan meant when he said peace through strength. He did not mean the nonsense that Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tom Massey and all the other ultra-MAGA Republicans, and frankly, it is good that President Trump has stepped away from that part of the Republican Party. He is right to step away. He should stay far away from it. They are all wrong.
It's interesting that you said that because we've talked about this before. I mean, Trump has, in doing this, Trump is shifting away from that part of the party that he created and cultivated, and that's a big shift in his MAGA coalition. So we'll see if they come with him. Some people like Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene are not, but we're just moments away now from an apparent ceasefire between Israel and Iran. But sirens are now sounding in Israel, and the IDF says that Iran has fired missiles. Stay with us. We'll have the latest on that.